I'm James Rule. Welcome to the Lonely Leader podcast, where we help existing and aspiring leaders find clarity, build resilience, drive performance, and enhance fulfillment. I'm James Rule. A very warm welcome to the Lonely Leader podcast, and today we're talking about invisible drains, 7 silent killers of leadership energy. Now, this ties into the previous batch of episodes we've done around protecting yourself from holiday illness, the need for a digital detox, and guarding against the leadership energy crisis. And this theme is so important to me because I am seeing it in so many of my clients, irrespective of age, sector, country, or culture. This challenge around energy and protecting our ability to lead at the highest level sustainably over a long term without damaging our physical or mental health is permeating in so many situations. And equally, the feedback from the previous episodes has shown to me that this is a topic that truly resonates with you, our listeners. So I wanted to just wrap this sort of theme up with one further episode whereby we touch on some of the silent energy killers, because it's easy to recognize those big crises, catastrophic situations. It's common sense to know that, well, when those situations arise, of course, it hits our energy and there's a short-term effect and we've got to rebuild and we've got to move forward. But what about those smaller, almost insignificant at face value situations? Some of these that I'm going to raise today, you'll be aware of. Some you might not have really reflected on. And that's the very nature of this podcast. I want to stimulate that reflection. I want you to think, actually, yes, this is an area I need to focus on, because the big dramatic situations will hit your energy, and I hope they don't come frequently. But equally, these are very much like the slow punctures in the tire. You might not be immediately aware of them, but if we don't address them over time, you end up with a flat tire, and there's a significant impact to it. So as with everything we talk about, I'm going to put it on your radar. I'm going to suggest some actionable takeaways that you can utilize to try and ensure that you are not going to become victim of these energy killers. So the first energy killer, decision-making fatigue. We've got to make decisions. It's the job of the leader. Leadership 101. Decisions come from the start of the day to the end of the day, and it's a relentless flow. However, we've only got so much bandwidth. I always have that visual analogy of a battery icon, the sort of thing we have on our phone. During the day, with every decision you make, it depletes. So we need to ensure that the decisions we make are the truly most important ones, and that if something big comes up late in the day, we still have the energy and the bandwidth to deal with it. This takes me to that example of high-profile leaders in the world wearing the same outfits every day. You'll have come across this, the likes of Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, even Barack Obama, when he was president, wore the same style of suit every single day. And initially, I can remember thinking as a younger man, that's a little bit weird. But I now understand that it was just a mechanism to remove one of those decisions. Just, this is what I wear. I get up, it's easy, there's no thought. I am not eroding that bandwidth on something as trivial as what am I wearing. Now, you don't necessarily need to go to that extreme, but the action I would encourage you to consider is, what should I be automating? Are there things that I'm dealing with that I could put into systems or processes to stop it coming into my wheelhouse? And secondly, what can I delegate? Do these things need to come to me, or should somebody else in my team be dealing with them? Those two issues can significantly reduce, when you give them the due consideration, the number of decisions that you have been made to make. The next energy killer is low-value meetings. Now, what is a low-value meeting? Well, for me, it's one that's draining the energy of you as the leader and the attendees. Energy draining can come from alpha personalities dominating, other people don't get a chance to speak. Meetings going on tangents with no clear outcomes, no clear actions. Meetings lasting far longer than they need to. People being brought into meetings that don't necessarily feel like they need to be there. And there will be, as ever, links in the show notes to relevant episodes. And one such episode was on how much a meeting's cost in your business, where we talk about the crucial need for efficient meeting management. It's an issue I see time and again when I embed with leadership teams, that people have the best of intentions, but meetings, the format, the cadence, the management of them is just not working. And I remember reading about Jeff Bezos when he was building Amazon, had a 2 pizza rule. If the meeting couldn't be fed by 2 pizzas, it had got too large. Now, you can interpret that how you want, but the principle, I believe, is sound. Meetings shouldn't be enormous and unruly. There should be an ability for everybody to contribute, and there should be clear actions. And talking of actions, what's the action for you to do here? Well, it's reflect. At the end of your working day or the end of your working week, whatever's most appropriate, reflect on where you are spending time. Reflect on the meetings taking place. Does your energy and time get well served by the meetings you're attending, or do there need to be some changes? Are the meetings you need to step out of, or do you need to lead them in a different way, or do you need to liaise with people and ask them to lead the meeting in a different way? But there really is no excuse for low value meetings being the status quo in organizations. Some subtle tweaks, as I talk about in the episodes in the show notes, can make a significant difference in this area. The third energy killer is unresolved conflict. Now, we all know, whether it's you as a leader with members of your team or between individual team members, if there is tension and unresolved conflict, it's only going to go one way, and that's negatively. That conflict will fester, it will impact the relationship, it will impact the individual's mindsets and performance, and it will cascade into the wider culture and energy of the organization, because we've all been there. If there's tension or conflict between people, then people around them are aware of it. It's impossible not to be. So as difficult as it is, whether it's you with an individual or whether it's you mediating between 2 people in your team, as a leader, you have an absolute moral and professional obligation to get into the weeds of that situation and resolve that conflict as quickly as possible. Because if you don't, your business, your team dynamics will all suffer as a consequence. So my action is, do you feel as though you have any unresolved conflict with anybody in your organization? And do you feel that there is any unresolved conflict between any team members in your organization? Now, I pause there deliberately because I want to give you time for names or situations to come to the fore in your mind. And if there were, then the takeaway here is take action, make those meetings happen, and bring those situations to a resolution. The fourth energy killer is people pleasing. How many of us get sucked into this world? I know I did. When I first stepped into the CEO role, it was very much, my door's always open. That famous line, which on reflection is one of the worst things you can say, because there is a cascading non-stop flow of people coming to your door. And when we talk about decision-making fatigue and inefficient uses of your time, that's a great way to set yourself up to drain all your energy and be truly inefficient. I'm not saying that we don't say yes to things, but I think we need to step back and be comfortable occasionally saying no. And to inspire down that path, a quote that I like from Warren Buffett, one of the most famous investors and leaders in the world, was that the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Now, interpret that quote how you will, but I think it should give you some permission, validation, that it's okay to say no sometimes. It's impossible as a senior leader to please everybody, say yes to every request, every demand, and every decision that people want you to make. Sometimes you have to say no, and that's okay. The fifth energy killer is digital distraction. We live in a world where we've never been more digitally connected, but equally, we've never been more disrupted. Digital connectivity has a myriad of benefits, but it is also now starting to become a seriously challenging phenomenon that leaders and all professionals are struggling to get into deep concentration because of the constant flow of notifications and disruption. And within the show notes, you'll find a link to Digital Detox, and I talk a lot there around the big chunk of time in your annual calendar when you take your family holiday or vacation, and the need to truly disconnect, to protect your energy, to be truly present with the people that you love. So there's that natural window when you're on a vacation, but equally, the action that I would like you to consider on this situation is just small daily windows of digital disconnection. And that can build out in due course. But you hear of famous creative people, J.K. Rowling, disconnected from everything to finish the Harry Potter books. There's times where we need to be able to focus, and you are the best judge on how good you are at A, carving out that time, and B, getting the most important things done. If you get to the end of the week and think, oh, I've been manically busy, but I didn't move the agenda forward on that item or that item, I didn't do X or Y, then that is probably the ultimate warning sign that I need to be a bit more cognizant of this. I need to create some deep work windows and ensure that I disconnect from digital distraction. Taking me into point number 6, the energy killer that we're all guilty of is neglecting recovery. Thinking that you can keep moving without ever thinking about recovery is akin for me to driving your car and thinking it'll never need any fuel. We just abuse our bodies and our minds, and we push. And you'll be tired of my sporting analogy on this. I've said it in multiple episodes, but recovery is so important. Look at the highest performing athletes in the world. They compete intensively, they train intensively, but they don't do it 24/7. They have mandated periods of recovery. So why do you enter into this deluded mindset that you have to grind 24/7 without any element of recovery? Yes, you can do that, but your performance, your concentration, your energy levels drop. Far better to build in elements of recovery, recharge that battery, and then lead with a higher level of impact. Make decisions with a full energy tank. So again, the takeaway here is just look at where you are building in time to recover. Is it clear to see? And if it's not, then make some small steps. Build in the occasional walk-in meeting or walk-in call. Create some digital detox windows. Take the stairs a little bit rather than the elevator. Now you'll say that's not recovery, but it is. It's just moving your body. It's just getting your internal energy systems going. Start small and build out accordingly. You don't have to start training for an Ironman as a way of enhancing your physical and mental recovery. What you do need to do is take small, consistent steps to ensure you are mentally and physically recovering, protecting your energy, and leading with the highest level of impact. And my final point is unclear boundaries. If you don't have any boundaries, you invite interruption, you invite energy drain, and you are just setting yourself up for failure. We talked about people pleasing earlier. We talked about inefficient meetings. We've talked about digital disconnection. All these tie back into this point. You have to set some boundaries. When are you doing deep work? When are you switching off? When are you present with family and loved ones? When are you in meetings, and when are you going to say no to certain meetings? All of this comes back to you having the courage to say, this is what I'm doing, this is the reason why, and not feeling guilty for that. When you set boundaries, you're also leading by example. You're not just dereliction of duty, stepping away and not doing your job, but people around you start to say, oh, I understand why you're doing that. I understand why you've stepped out of that meeting. I understand the need to focus on your strategic priorities and create those deep work periods. I respect the fact that one day a week you are uncontactable, that you are not on call 24/7 through the weekend because you are focusing on your wife or your husband or your children. All of those boundaries inspire people around you to do the same. That will not take your organization into destruction and free fall. Quite the contrary. You will protect the energy of your people, and you will see them replicating some of these ideas, some of these strategies. Their performance will rise, and that old adage of the rising tide lifts all boats. Their performance levels go up. The culture is more engaged. People have a higher level of fulfillment. You retain your high performers and you attract other ones. So simplicity is always the key for me. None of these points are a reinvention of the wheel. You will be aware of them. You will have heard of them, but are you implementing them? I want you to have the highest level of energy so you can bring the best version of you to the fore, so that you set the standard for your team and that you sustain high performance over the long term. And as I always say, find the highest level of fulfillment. Life's not a dress rehearsal. So why do we engage in habits that don't serve us when we have one crack at this? So I wish you the best of luck with these reflections. Please do listen to the previous episodes around holiday illness, avoiding that, protecting yourself from energy depletion, and some of the previous episodes that we've done around recovery. They'll all be linked in the show notes. I wish you the very best of luck. Thanks for listening to the Lonely Leader podcast. I'd be very grateful if you could share and follow if the content resonates. And if you're looking for additional free resource to support your continued growth and development, then please do check out our social media and website details in the show notes. Remember, quality leadership on the outside must always start within.